We are recording. Miss Seiler is in front of the cigar plant down there in Charleston. I'm kidding. Every time I see that picture, it looks like the cigar plant. Let's see. 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. 12. Okay, 2 people haven't got their videos on. Please turn your videos on. I mean, you can go into the kitchen and you can go back to sleep or whatever, but turn your videos on, please. All right. Thank you. That's a whole lot better. All right, so the first question I got, I'm not going to pull them up. I'm just going to write them. The first question is the question about periods and all that stuff, and I'm going to send you that right now. Let me go ahead and send you all that. I made a worksheet for you to kind of help you out with the periods and all that. So I'm going to send it. I don't think I sent it to y'all, did I?
No, sir, you didn't.
Did I send y'all one named Trig Wave?
No, sir. No, sir. I don't see it.
Okay, there it comes. It's on its way. Check the file or check the chat to see if you got it. Somebody say you got it or not.
Yes, sir. It's there.
Okay. So here's the question. And the question is, P of X is equal to 5 times the sine of 2x minus pi over 3 plus 2. And I think probably 6 of y'all sent this question. Okay? Is it a question that you will fail calculus if you don't know? No. Okay? I'm going to give you a question that I think you ought to know, but this is not one of them. Now, when you get to second calculus, you might want to refer to this worksheet and this problem, because in second calculus, you might run into some of this. But in first calculus, not much. All right. So, what do? Well, you got to get it in this. I'm going to write it in red, and it's on your sheet that I just sent you. You want it in this form. Y is equal to A times, in this case, the sine. Could be cosine or tangent or whatever. B, brackets, theta minus C, close brackets, plus D. That's the form you want it in. Kind of like when we do completing the square and we get it in the intercept form. This is kind of the intercept form for a trig function. Okay? The A is equal to amplitude. Amplitude is how tall the wave is compared to the x-axis. So I put tall right there. How tall it is. B we haven't got because we got to factor something out right here to get B. So we haven't done this yet. And D, that's your vertical shift. Okay, so we can't do the middle because we don't have it in that form. So what you need to do is factor out a 2. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that part in a different color. So Y is equal to 5 times the sine, and I'm going to put brackets right here, plus 2. And I'm going to take another color, and I'm going to factor out a 2, and that'll give me x minus, let's see, pi divided by 3 divided by 2, because you're factoring, is the same as multiplying by 1/2, which would be pi over 6. Now I've got everything I need. I've got my amplitude. I've got my B, which helps give me my period. I've got C, which is called the horizontal shift or the phase shift. And I've got the vertical shift. So I'm going to write all this down. Amplitude is equal to 5. Period is equal to 2 pi over B. Which is equal to 2 pi over 2 which is equal to pi. My phase shift, or my horizontal shift, is right, pi over 16, or pi over 6, and then my vertical shift is 2 up. Now, if I were to ask you this on a test, that's all I would want, because you got your calculator to put it on the calculator graph, and we're fixing to do that right now. So let's take our calculator, and I'm going to y is equal, and I'm going to clear everything. Clear, clear, clear. And I'm going to do the sine curve in black, just so I can compare it. Sine of x. And now I'm going to plug in what we got right here. 5 times the sine of 2x minus pi over 3. 2x minus pi over 3. Close parentheses, plus 2. And of course, you could type it in as the way you got it: 5 sine 2 parentheses x minus pi over 6, close parentheses, plus 2. You could do that the same. It doesn't matter. And you will see that there is your black function. And you see that instead of starting at the origin, we moved right pi over 6. You see that the amplitude grew from 1 to 7. Now, a lot of people say, well, Hubert, I thought the amplitude was 5. Yeah, the amplitude was 5, but the vertical shift was 2. And what's 2 plus 5? 7. So that's why 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's why you're at 7, because the stretch, which is the amplitude, it went 5 up. And then the vertical shift took you 2 up. Now, what do I want you to do if I was to test you on this? I want you to be able to do this. And I want you to be able to do this. Okay? But I'm not going to ask you this on the test, because I already checked the test out and it doesn't have it on there. Okay? So just do it for the homework. And make sure you type in the 5 for the amplitude. And the period is pi. I meant 5 for the amplitude. And pi for the period. And the phase shift is right, pi over 6. And the vertical shift is 2 up. Question on that one? The problem is not that difficult. What the problem is people forget. People forget. You do this in Trig, and then you just forget about it.
You have a work email.
All right, next question. This question was sent to me at least like 40 times. Is it a test question? No. Is it a question that I would not put on here? Yes, I would not put them on homework. And this is where you have to take the sine of 2 cosine -1 arc cosine of 9x, and you need to use the double angle identity along with a couple of other identities. And if you've got a cheat sheet for your identities, that's helpful. Now, I'm not trying to belittle the question. I'm trying to get to derivatives. We need to get to derivatives ASAP, okay? And we need to be on unit 1 in calculus. And I don't want to spend a lot of time going over questions that we don't, necessarily need, but I also want to cover what we need to, what you send me, because you don't know how to do it, so we need to do it, but I want to get done with it. This problem, I'm going to highlight this as theta. So basically, I've got sine 2 theta. Now, since I've got sine 2 theta, I can rewrite sine 2 theta as this. So that's what I'm fixing to do. So that's going to give me 2 sine theta cosine theta. And my theta is equal to that arc cosine. So I'm going to put that in now. 2 sine parentheses times cosine parentheses. And you put in arc cosine of 9x. Now, if you look at your identities, you will see, of course, that cancels out pretty much. I'm not going to worry about this right now, because that will cancel that out. But here, you need to turn the cosine of 9x into a sine so we can cancel the sines out. So that's what I'm fixing to do right now, and that will give me 2 sine of inverse sine of the square root of 1 squared minus 9x squared times cosine of the inverse cosine of 9x. Now, of course, they told you at the beginning of the problem to draw a triangle. Well, I'm going to draw a triangle right now. And it's real simple because we're dealing with the cosine. Okay, the cosine is equal to, Oscar had a hunk, and ours is equal to 9x over 1. Therefore, my adjacent is equal to 9x, and my hypotenuse is equal to 1. Therefore, this side, the opposite, I meant not the opposite, the, no, that's it, yeah, the opposite. The opposite is going to be equal to A. So 1, 9x, and A. And that's what you were supposed to do at the beginning of the problem because you're dealing with the cosine. So that's where I'm getting the 1 and the 9x. Now, all you got to do now is the sines cancel. The sine will take out the arc cosine, or this cosine inverse, and the cosine will take that out. And you're left with 2 times the square root of 1 minus 81x squared times 9x, which is equal to 18x, the square root of 1 minus 81x squared. Is it a little bit much for a review on trig? Yes. I would use it for a review in Calc 2, but I wouldn't use it for a review in Calc 1. Now, I'll give you a question that y'all sent me that is a good test question, and that is a good review for this test, and that is the following question. Cosine theta is equal to negative 24 over 25, and it's in quadrant 3, and they want to know all the trigonometric functions. This is the #1 question I would put on a test from trig. Why? Because it's your basic trig. So I want you, and what do you do in trig? You got to find out where you what? Where you are. That's the first thing you find out. And you got to figure it out in quadrant 3, how this can be in quadrant 3. That's the first thing you got to do. All students take what?
Classes.
Take calculus. And third quadrant, the tangent and the cotangent are positive. Therefore, the sine, cosine, secant, and cosecant are all what? Negative. Okay? So I'm going to draw this negative 24 over 25. I'm going to take 2 colors. And I'm going to put my negative 24 right here. And I'm going to put my 25 right here. Well, how did I know to do that? Somebody tell me. How did I know to put the negative 24 right there and the 25 right there? Somebody tell me.
Because it's in the third quadrant.
It's in the third quadrant, but how do I know where to put what? Where?
The 24 is on the x-axis, and it's going into the negative, so it has to go there.
Oscar had a what? Honk. Yes, you were saying that correct. The A is on the x-axis. The hypotenuse is never what? The hypotenuse is like distance. It's never what?
Never negative.
Never negative. So if you've got a negative right here, it's going to have to go with the adjacent because it cannot go with the hypotenuse. That's the kind of stuff you need to remember. All right, so finish it. So now it's just a basic trig problem. So if you can't finish it, that means that you're a failure and probably should quit school. Maybe get you a cardboard box and live in the cigar factory. Actually, I'd hate to see how much one of them apartments in the cigar factory would cost. Mr. Knight, I have to ask this question. I've never seen a hat like that before. What kind of hat is that?
It's a beanie.
It's a what?
A beanie.
Oh, okay. Is that like a stocking cap? I can't see it.
Yeah.
No. I guess it's like a stocking cap.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was just wondering because you wore it the other day and I couldn't see it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if it was like a jughead hat. I don't know what those things are called. Like on the Archies, he had a weird hat. I didn't know if it was a stocking cap or what. I'll shut up. Let y'all work. Mr. Silva, you sent me exactly 87 questions on number 40. We counted them up in the other calculus class. 87. How'd you do that, Mr. Silva?
I must have broke it.
You must have. Usually Mr. Michelle is the one that does that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What?
I just said, yeah, that sounds about right.
I don't think you've ever sent me 87 of the same question. I don't think you've ever done that.
They're usually different questions.
Yeah, they usually are. But Mr. Silva wanted to test the system, I guess. Somebody tell me what we are going to use. We're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. Why do I spell it like this? Because I don't want you walking out of my classroom butchering it up. So that's why I do it like this. So you don't sound like Billy Bob Redneck. You ever heard of Billy Bob Redneck try to pronounce Pythagoras? Okay, they botch it up. So I'm giving it to you right here. So when you walk out of my classroom, you don't botch it up. Theorem. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. And I've got negative 24 squared plus B squared is equal to 25 squared. And 24 squared, I have no earthly idea. I know this
is 576.
Thank you. B squared is equal to 625 minus 576. And take the square root of that. So B is equal to the square root of 49. Somebody check my math.
You're right.
So let's go with a different color. Let's go with this pink right here. Actually, it's kind of a mauve. And there is my negative 7. Now, how did I know to put a negative there? Well, you're going down, negative. So I'm going to take my handy dandy sign equals Oscar had, which is equal to negative 7 over what? 25? So there's 1. We already got the cosine. Tan, Oscar had a hunk of apple. Of is negative 7 over negative 24, which is 7 over 24. Now, I'm not going to do the cotangent. I think y'all can flip 7 over 24 and find the cotangent. I mean, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. And the secant is going to be what? Negative 25 over 24. And the cosecant is negative 25 over 7. That is the kind of question I would test you on. Anybody got a question? Okay. I know, I'm amazing. All right. Let's see what else I got. All right, that's it. I want to get to limits again because I got a couple more that I want to go over with limits. Mr. Michelle, did yesterday help with the limits? Did you go try to do any homework?
Oh, yes, sir. I completed the limits homework, actually.
You finished it?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Whenever you went over it, actually really helped. So thank you for that.
Well, good, because I forgot to go over it, so I sucked. So I'm going to pull up a couple more questions, and let's see if anybody sent any chapter 2, or I don't see any, but let's check to make sure. There's one. Let's see, that's 2.5, number 20, limits at infinity. This is one that I wanted to go over. So whoever sent this one, Mr. Hummerding, did I say that correct? Hummerding?
Yes.
Is that German or what?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Dang old, tell you what, dang old origins. All right. Good golly molly, we need to quit. That's fractions. Actually, this is one of the easiest problems that you can actually do. Because whenever you plug in infinity and it's a fraction, it's going to 0. So we can go limit as x approaches infinity of 1 plus 162 over x plus sine 4x to the third over x squared. So we're going to plug and chug. Plug and chug. 1 plus 162 over infinity plus sine for the fourth power of x to the third over infinity. Now, when you have a question like this, especially with fractions, it's real simple. Because what will happen here and here, no matter what? We're going to use a green marker because it doesn't cancel. But tell me what infinity is. Somebody give me a number that represents infinity. 25 trillion, okay? 162 divided by 25 trillion. Over sine of 4x to the third over 25 trillion. I think that's squared, isn't it? Hold on a second. Oh gosh, it's squared. So that means 25 trillion is going to be squared. So what is 1 plus 162 divided by 25 trillion? I think that's trillion. I'm not going to count them. Plus sine beluga over 25 trillion squared. Well, Mr. Silva may say, well, I don't want 25 trillion. My number for infinity is 1.23 trillion. Okay, we'll put 1.23 trillion here. This is going to be 1.23 trillion squared. Well, Mr. LeCroy may say, Well, I think a billion represents infinity. Okay, 1 billion, and this is 1 billion squared. What's going to happen to these two fractions?
They're going to be very close
They're
to
going to
zero.
approach 0.
They're going to what? 1 over a big ass number plus 1 over a big ass number. What's going to happen? They're going to turn to what? Zeros, Hubert. That's right, class. I think that's what you said. So we've got 1 plus 0 plus 0 is equal to 1. That is a test question. Now, somebody like Mr. Michelle may say, well, I don't think infinity is a billion, so I'm going to use 1,000 as infinity. Well, that would be 162 over 1,000 plus a sine beluga beluga over 1,000 squared. It still works. You still get 0. Capiche? That's a good test question. I'm glad you sent it because that was one of the questions I was going to go over today. All right, let's go over another one. I have to go to the homework now because that was the only homework question from chapter 2 sent to me. So let's go to the homework and go to assignments and limits. And I went over those two the other day. So let me go to question 15. First of all, is it a test question? Yeah, it could be. It says explain why a limit from x equal to 6 and the limit of x minus 3 is equal to 6, and then evaluate limit. Okay, this is what I was telling you the other day. Okay, let's write it down. I'm not going to write it down. This is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to write it, because this is the test question I would ask. Limit as x approaches 6 of x squared minus 9x plus 18 over x minus 6. And then I'm just going to do the problem, and I'm going to answer their question with what I pick up with doing this problem. Okay, now remember, there's 3 types of problems. 1 is plug and chug. 2 is algebra. And 3 is graphing. Well, the problem doesn't say anything about graphing, so it's you know it's not number 3. Okay, what else is there? Well, plug and chug or algebra. What happens when you plug and chug?
It'll blow up the function.
It blows up the function, so it's not that one. So that leaves algebra. So this is the reverse FOIL because this is not a perfect square. So you go to your algebra 2 skills and say limit as x approaches 6 of x, let's see, 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Well, 1 and 18 will give you a 19 or a 17. We need 9. 2 and 9 will give you 11 or 7. We need 9. 3 and 6 will give you a 3 or a 9. So 3 here and 6 here. We need a negative, so that means the biggest number has to be negative. This means unlike, and divide that by x minus 6. And we find out that the x minus 6's do what?
Cancel.
And you're left with the limit of x approaching 6 of x plus 3 gives us a y value of what? 9. Because now that we got the algebra taken care of, we can plug and chug. Okay, so the limit at x approaching 6 of this whole function does not exist. Okay, so it's undefined or does not exist. But once we use a little bit of algebra, we can get a limit of equal to 9. We draw this right here. Let's draw a handy dandy, let's see, x plus 3, 1, 2, 3. It's a 1 to 1, which means a 45-degree angle. And then what goes at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? What goes at 6 on this graph? An open what?
Open circle.
An open circle. And what happens if you don't put that open circle on your graph on a test?
You should get a box.
Did you get it wrong?
You get it wrong. So I just did x plus 3. So when you go up here, when x is approaching 3, when x is approaching 3, or sorry, 6, right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the limit is 9. Okay? Up here, you can't do the limit approaching 6 because it'll blow the function up. That's why you have the open circle. So there's 3 test questions here. One test question, I'll mark them in green. One test question is right here. Doing the algebra to simplify the limit. Another test question is plugging and chugging, and another test question is graph. Those are the 3 things that I will test you on. Now, the infinity question that we did a while ago, that was plug and chug. That's plug and chug. This one has plug and chug and algebra and graph. It's got all 3 in it to help explain the answer. That's 3 good. That's 1 good test question with 3 parts. Let's do a nerd. I'll do 1 or 2 more, and then we're going to move on to the test. Let's see, class is over at 3:15. Okay, so this one, that's when you got a straight line, and it's going to be, you're going to have, let's see, assume limit y is equal to 28. Well, when y is equal to 28, you gotta graph it. Hold on a second. This is kind of a silly question, but I'm going to draw it. And we got f of x is equal to 28, or y is equal to 28, whatever you want to write it. And what is the limit as x approaches 8? And then you got another one. H of x is equal to 4, or y is equal to 4. And you got x is approaching 8 again. All right, here is the graph, or here is my picture. So where is y is equal to 28? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 28. There you go. 28 is up here. There's my line. Everybody with me? That's y is equal to 28. Here's x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's do our limit. I'm going to approach 8 from the left. What's my y? 28. Well, let's check it. What about from the left? I'm going to approach what x equal to 8 from the left. And what is my y? 28. So my limit is 28 when y is equal to 28. They're trying to show you a property is what they're trying to do. Let's do the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And x is equal to 8. What happens when I approach 8 from the left, from the right? 4. What happens when I approach 8 from the left? 4. So the limit is going to be whatever the y is equal to. They're trying to get you to learn something there, but I don't know. Sometimes the easier something is, the more it goes over your head. So when you have a horizontal line, the limit is going to be what? What the actual function is. Comprende? Yes, Hubert, we understand.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do one more. Let's see if I can find one. Okay, that's the same type, same type, same type. I want to find one where you're coming from left and right. Come on, where are you? It's not giving me the ones I want. There's one we just did. We did one like that one like that one. Okay, I guess they're not going to give us one like that. Nope. So let me go back here, and I'll pull one of those up. That's a basic equation. There's one. Find the following limit or state that it does not exist. Well, in this case, it's going to exist because this is plug and chug, and there's no fraction and no radical. So if there's no fraction or radical, it does exist. So limit as t is approaching 7 of t squared plus 2t plus 7. And this is just a plug and chug. Plug in a 7, plug in a 7, 49 plus 14 plus 7. 49 plus 21, dang old 70. Now tell me what's hard about limits. Dang old, watch me get it wrong. 70. Yay. And that's a test question. All right, let's look at the test so y'all can run around in circles when class is over today and be confused and run into the walls and all that stuff that y'all do. So let me go to assignment so we can talk about this. So what?
When is the test assigned to get? Is it
I have
Saturday?
no idea.
Okay.
That's why I'm going and showing y'all this. Whoever asked that. There it is. There's the homework. When's homework due? When's homework due? When's homework due? Why don't you call me this weekend and ask me that? I'll hang up on you. When's homework due? Somebody read that off the My Labs Plus. What does it say?
5/31/21.
5/31. That's Monday, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, I can
Yes,
cut it off
sir.
this afternoon if y'all want me to. But I kind of
Nah.
figured some of y'all might need the extra. Let's
Please
go down
don't.
to the test.
Yeah, don't do that, Hubert.
Oh my gosh, look at there. It's the 31st. Oh my gosh, you got 90 minutes. Takes a 50 minutes, a 50-minute test. Oh my gosh, you got 5 attempts on one and 3 attempts on the other. Somebody tell me why you got 5 attempts on the algebra review section.
So you ain't got no excuse.
And why is the only reason people flunk calculus?
Because the dead grandmothers and all that.
No, because they suck at what?
Algebra.
They suck at algebra. Miss Seiler, I'm starting to question that creek water you drinking. All right. That stuff that's got bubbles in it. It's got bubbles in it. Bigger the bubbles, more potent it is. All right.
It's water, I promise.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Red
Miss
Solo Cup. I fill you up. All right. So here we go. We're going to click on this.
Mr. McClure,
And yes.
I just got a quick question. Is 3-1 and 3-2, are they due Monday as well?
No, I took that off.
Okay.
Right here. See? It's open.
Yes, I just remember we went over that the other day. I wrote it down and then I didn't see it.
Yeah, I took it off. All right. So I'm going to go to the, I'm just going to go to the assignment manager and I'm going to pull up the preview. We're not going to do the problems. I'm going to let you write them down so you can make your own little pretest. So I'm going to do that for you. You're welcome. And where is the test? Hold on. Test. Okay, algebra review test. Here we go. Preview. We're going to skip the bonus questions. You got about 20 math questions because there's about 10 to 12 bonus questions. So there's a bonus question. Okay, there's one right there. Solve for x. I would use the definition of a logarithm. This is log base e. Log base e of x is equal to 8. A to the y is equal to x. So that would be e to the 8 is equal to x. And then you type it in your calculator. Next, I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to go through and let you write them down. And that way you'll have a pretest. Solve the equation by using complete the squares, what I would use. And they want the 2x intercepts right here. You could use, I think you could use factoring. 3 and 9 will give you a 12. You can use factoring. Or you could just skip it and not do it. That's the best thing to do. Next, express as a single logarithm. Oh, I need to take that off. That one's too easy. Log x to the 4th minus log x to the, let's see, that's 3/5 exponent over index times 5. 3/5 times 5. The 5's cancel and that's to the 3rd power. So log x to the 4th minus log x to the 3rd is log of x to the 4th over x to the 3rd, which should be log of x. I'm going to let y'all, I just did it in my head. I may have some off. You might want to check me. I believe you get the log of x on that one. Some of y'all need to settle down. Y'all are just extremely too loud for class. Mr. Jackson, you are entirely too loud. Next. I don't even think he heard me. Factor the trinomial. Okay, there was a smile. I saw that, Mr. Jackson. I saw that. All right, 55c squared plus 28c minus 3. You can use factoring there. Whatever you want to use. You can use complete the square. They want x-intercepts. Next. And you also, I'm going to tell y'all a little trick. Y'all can go to YouTube or the Teams page, and y'all can pull this video up and y'all can watch it and stop it. Did y'all know that? For the one person that's going to do that. All right, next. Consider the function absolute value of x and absolute value of x minus 4 plus 8. What is negative 4? What is that?
Phase shift.
That is the, not phase shift, but what?
Well, you're moving it to the
Horizontal
right.
shift. To the
Yes,
right 4 places. And what is
Yes,
plus
sir.
8?
The
That's
vertical
vertical
shift.
shift.
Vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Hubert, a quick question.
Yes.
What's the difference between phase shift and horizontal shift?
Phase shift is with a wavelength. It's
Okay.
still a horizontal shift. But you do a phase shift because the actual wavelength is in a phase. Okay? Kind of like, I was going to say time rift, phase shift. We better not go there. Next. Dang on quantum mechanics. Use radical notation. This is what? Exponent over index. This is the square root of 10 over 9 raised to the third power. 10 over 9 raised to the third power is 1,000 over, I don't know what 9 to the third power is. That's 81 times 9. 729. I believe you get 1,000 times 720 over 729. Somebody check me on that. Let's check it and see. Okay, I didn't do it correctly.
Did you say?
Oh, it changed it.
Did you say 81?
It changed it. Just right there. It was 1,000 over what?
81.
1,000 over 81 to the 3/2 power.
100 over 81. But I'm not
Oh,
sure
was it 100?
I have
All right.
over
This
80.
is the same one. This is a different one. Next. Completing the square. They want it in exact. Remember, exact means radicals. Please read the directions. Unlike your teacher, please read the directions. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, we don't have many women in here, but that's the way you need to, that's the way they live. Do as I say, not as I do. No comment, nothing. Okay. Or wives. Wives even worse. All right. Factor. That's pretty self-explanatory. There we go. Definition of a logarithm. A to the y, 625 to the 1/4 power is equal to 5. That's the definition of a logarithm. Bonus. Okay, this one, you're going to raise that, bring that up. That'd be 3/2. Natural log of 4x to the 6 raised to the 3/2 minus natural log of 2y to the 30th, parentheses 3/2 or 2/5. And then you're going to incorporate that 2/5 and that 3/2 in with 4 and 6. and the 2/5 with the 2 and the 30. And you're going to be able to put the division on that. So you know it's going to be one of these that are division. And it looks like that one. Next. Okay, this is vertical or horizontal shift. This is a vertical shift because it's not under the radical. So that is a vertical shift. I need to hurry. Need to get over this test so you can see the limits. Factor. That's using the reverse FOIL. Factor. Okay, this one, rationalize the numerator. So I'm going to multiply by the square root of 5x plus 8 plus the square root of 5x over the square root of 5x plus 8 plus the square root of 5x. And it's going to clear the fractions in the numerator by using shortcut number 3. And then the bottom, you're going to see something cancel. This is exponential laws. You subtract the exponent, so that would be 6/7 plus 1/7, which is 6 to the 7/7. I mean y to the 7/7, which is y. Okay, there's a graphing. Okay, this is graphing. So graphing calculator, knock yourself out. Rationalize the denominator, multiply by the square root of x minus 6 on top and bottom. And that will give you the square root of x minus 6 times square root of x minus 6 is x minus 6. Rationalize the denominator by multiplying by the square root of x minus y, square root of y, over the square root of x minus the square root of y. This is logarithm, so that would be log base 3 of x times x plus 1 is equal to log base 3 of 2. And solve the equation. And that's not too bad because you got the log of something equals log of something. That's going to be x times x plus 1 is equal to 2. X times x plus 1 is equal to 2. Because the bases are the same, you can set the x and the x plus 1 times equal to 2. Pythagorean theorem. Completing the square. Completing the square. Find the domain. Set the denominator equal to what?
Equal to 0.
And factor and solve. And the inverse of, and we did this, y is equal to x to the 1/2 minus 2. Switch the x and the y, solve for y, and that's your inverse equation. That's the trig. That's the algebra portion of the test. Now let's go pull up the limit test. Talking about 10 questions because there's only 23 or 24, and you got about 11 or 12 Bonus questions? Maybe I should take those off. Next. Next. There's limit. What are you going to do with this one? Are you going to use algebra or plug and chug?
Plug and chug.
Plug and chug. Because there's nothing in the numerator to do algebra with. Can't do any algebra with 2. So 3 times 0, 4, square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 over 4 is 1/2. So 1/2 is your answer. Use the graph to evaluate the limit. What is the limit at 0? It's undefined. Does not exist. Because this number does not equal that number. For the function whose graph is given, determine the following limit. I'm approaching x is equal to 1 from the right. X is equal to 1 from the right. I'm approaching what? 3? This one you're going to multiply by the conjugate so you can get rid of it's over 1. So make sure you put a big lash in 1. And you're rationalizing the numerator. What are you going to do here? Plug and what? Chug, because you can't do anything with 2 algebraically. You can't do anything with x algebraically. 2 over infinity is 0. What's 0 minus 6?
-6.
-6.
Now, you shouldn't miss that one. If you miss that one, you don't tell anybody. Right, Miss Crosby? You don't tell anybody when you miss one. Easy. Don't tell anybody. Yeah, I missed that one. It was easy. All right. Plug and chug. What's 27 minus 3?
24.
24.
Next. Find all the vertical asymptotes. Set the denominator equal to what?
0.
0. That's your vertical asymptotes. Maybe I should go back and redo this test. All right, this is going to be B minus A over B minus A. Which one says B minus A over B minus A? That's all right, guys. Delta. I got it. Appreciate it. D is in delta. Y sub 2 minus Y sub 1 over X sub 2 minus X sub 1. Slope. Okay. It's going to be it's going to be your coefficients. 11/16 is your answer. Because everything else goes to 0. So you're left with just the what? The coefficients, and that is 11/16. We got to hurry up because I'm about to pass out. Oh, sleepy. And plug and chug. 2 to the third power is 8. 8 plus 20 is 28. 28 minus 14 is 14 plus 1 is 15. Lord, it's a miracle. Anybody know what movie that quote is from? Lord, it's a miracle.
No, what is it from?
Shawshank Redemption. The warden, when Andy Dufresne is gone from his prison cell, forget it. It's not an animation or a comic book movie, so y'all don't watch it. And that's it. Now see there, did I try to trick y'all on any of those? No. Somebody done kidnapped Miss Seiler. Oh well. All right. Y'all have the weekend to finish up your homework as well as your test. Y'all get out of here. Have a good weekend. And I will see y'all Monday.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Hebert.
Hewitt.
Glad y'all got to see me today.